Stairway to Space, a Europlanet Early Career Network podcast.
Welcome everybody. You are listening to the inaugural episode of the podcast Stairway to Space. It is the podcast of the Europlanet Early Career Network, and it is a tool in our hands to promote our early career scientists' research and activities. Through series of interviews and by hosting specialists, we will raise important issues that concern also diversity and inclusion in their research institutions, through sharing also our experiences on it. And furthermore, we will cover the major events for planetary science in Europe and eventually worldwide. In our first episode, however, we don't have any visitors, just a dream team of hosts. My name is Karakostas, and along with me, behind the microphones, are sitting Erika Luzzi, a postdoctoral researcher at Bailey, co-chair of the Europlanet Early Career Network, Ines Belgacem, research fellow at the European Space Agency, the other EPEC co-chair, Melissa Mirino, who just finished her PhD at the Open University in the UK, and she is the co-chair of the Communications Working Group, José Eduardo Silva, a postdoctoral researcher at IEA, University of Porto, member of several working groups of the EPEC, and Ilaria Di Pietro, a postdoctoral fellow at Remote Sensing and Planetology Laboratory at the University of Chieti in Italy, who is member of the Communications Working Group and the EPEC at EPSC Working Group. So let me start this discussion with these two colleagues who carry the heaviest load of the EPEC activities, the co-chairs of the Europlanet Early Career Network. Erika and Ines, what is and what does the EPEC?
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Phoebus, for the introduction. It makes me really happy that we are here recording our first episode of this podcast. So, EPEC, introducing EPEC in a few words. It's the Europlanet Society Early Career Network. It's a space that's meant to support early career researchers in their first years as scientists, and where they can also safely experiment and get involved in different activities. Because when you are an EPEC member, of course you are kept up to date about the latest calls, about mentoring opportunities, job ads, and all that. But we also get the chance to get involved in the different working groups and in shaping the future of the network and the society. And you can get all the levels of responsibilities that you like, or simply contribute on a subject you care about. So,
Erika, would you like to also give us your take? How is the network organized?
Of course. Hello, everyone. So we're currently organized into 7 working groups, and I will list them randomly. Let's start with the outreach working group that, as the name suggests, aims to share outreach material and experiences, but mostly to inspire early careers to do outreach. And then we have the Future Research Working Group, which is fostering science leadership in the early career community by, for example, leading white papers in the last ESA Voyage 2050 call. And then we have the Communications Working Group that takes care of the EPEC social media pages and the website, but they also organize events and a contest throughout the year. And of course, the production team behind this podcast. And then we have the Diversity Working Group that's thinking of ways to create a more diverse and inclusive space in planetary science. And is working with the larger Europlanet Society Diversity Working Group. And then we have the Early Career Support Working Group, which is developing a database of resources to support the community. And in the end, we have 2 working groups that are organizing events. Those events that bring us together twice per year. So we have the EPEC at EPSC working group that organizes activities for early careers during the Europlanet Science Congress, EPSC. And then we have the annual week working group that every year organizes this a one-week event where early careers from all over the world can meet, learn from seminars, and of course network. That's the core of our annual week.
So how can someone join the Europlanet Society and the Early Career Network?
I'll take this one. That's a very good question. You can become a member of Europlanet Society at any time. It's a simple form on the website, and we will link it in the description, of course. There is a reduced fee to become a member for early careers, so it's 25 euros a year. And if you're an early career from an underrepresented country, it goes down to 15. When you join the society, you can check a box to become a member of EPEC and also join regional hubs that are most relevant to you. This will be presented in the next episode, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But if you want to stay in touch with EPEC, you can also subscribe to our email list, or better yet, just join our Slack workspace directly and get involved. And of course, we'll link all of this in the description below.
So I think that we have a good introduction about what is our network. Through our episodes, you will have in permanent basis the chance to stay tuned for our news. So let me address now to Melissa Mirino, who is co-chairing the Communications Working Group, the group that is actually in charge of the production of this podcast. What are you, or what actually we, doing in this working group?
First of all, hello everyone. So the EPEC Communications Working Group, as part of the EPEC network, is inspired by the possibility to use social media networks and platforms to connect all young professionals involved in planetary science, and also to allow them to have an active voice in the activities of the space sector, as we are doing, for example, with this podcast. In fact, our group aims to give young professionals the opportunity to gain experience in media communication, of course using the main social media platforms. Our first goal is therefore to create content like, for example, videos and posts related with the work and contributions of young professionals involved in planetary science. Some examples are the Raise Your Profile initiative and the EPEC APSC Planetary Science for All video contest. With the Raise Your Profile initiative, we publish each month a profile of an early career in order to allow early careers to share their experience in the space sector, highlight their scientific contribution, and of course to showcase their research. The profiles usually include a short biography and a summary of the current research of their early careers, but we also allow to insert links to any social media platform that the person who submitted the profile is using, in order to provide more information if they are, of course, interested. And then, of course, we share the profiles on the Europlanet Society website and on our social media platforms. With this, of course, we want to raise awareness about the early career members' involvement in the space sector and highlight their experiences and contribution. And then, of course, the EPEC APSC Planetary Science for All video contest offers students, again involved in planetary science, the opportunity to showcase their research through a 4-minute video contest. And all the videos submitted are usually shown during the Europlanet Science Congress that this year will be held in Granada, Spain. And it's usually a congress that is hosted in a different place each year. And we hope to, with this activity, of course, again, to increase the visibility of the contestants' work. And finally, our group uses all the social media platforms to advertise events related with research of early careers, as well as job opportunities or workshop and similars.
So there is a Facebook and Twitter account. Would you mind sharing it with our audience?
Yes, of course. So we are using both these platforms. You can find us on Twitter by looking Europlanet Early Career Network, or looking for @epec.epn, or you can search for Europlanet Early Career EPEC Network on Facebook. And you can also maybe type @epec.epn. People can also check our activities on the Europlanet webpage in the section dedicated to the early career networks, in case, of course, are not using these specific platforms.
Okay, so we will also put these links in the description of all our episodes. So if you're actually buying your groceries or riding your bike, don't mind to stop whatever you're doing, because we've got it covered for you. And as we said, we have a voice on a website, and we have literally our voice transmitted through our podcast. And we also have a voice at the social media. Ilaria is taking care of it. So Ilaria, would you like to share with us your experience, and maybe even further, why should somebody follow us? Is there anything interesting announced for people around? I suppose that there should be.
Thank you, Phoebus, and hello everyone. Well, needless to say that social media is an important part of our life and an immediate and powerful tool to communicate nowadays. This is the reason why we care about keeping our Twitter followers updated about calls for application, conferences, workshops, webinars, school, job opportunities, and most important, discoveries about several planetary topics. There is something for every taste, as you can see. In particular, I want our listener to be aware, and I want to highlight even more our Planetary Science for All video contests, which offers the possibility to win a free registration and a travel grant for EPSC 2023 or 2024 in the United States or in Finland, respectively. This video contest is open to university students at any level, PhD, Master, Bachelor, and even to early career researchers we obtained their last degree maximum 7 years ago. Of course, any planetary research topic is more than welcome, and please note, videos should be no longer than 4 minutes, and the deadline is August 31st. So, what are you waiting for? Check out our social media to find out more on how you can enter our video contest.
So it seems that there are some reasons to not miss the content that is announced through our accounts. However, the EPEC activities are spread in a wide range of topics with different forms of communication and a variety of tasks that can fit any interest of its members. José, you are one of those who had participated in more than one working groups. Would you mind share your experience? What did you do as a member of the network, and what did you gain out of it? What did you learn?
Certainly. Thank you, Phoebus. Well, right now I'm involved in 4 different working groups within EPEC. These include the EPEC at TPSC, the Outreach Working Group, the Annual Week Working Group, not forgetting, of course, the Communications Working Group, where I'm part of the team and the podcast. So, to tell you a little bit of the story, I learned about the Europlanet Society and EPEC during the second annual week in 2019, which took place in Lisbon. And I quickly became involved in some of the projects which are still ongoing, including the inspiring stories by the Outreach Group. I basically had this amazing experience that I want to share with the community. The Outreach Group gave me an outlet to do that kind of thing, and gave me a lot of support in writing the article. By the way, you can access these articles in the EPEC website following the Outreach Working Group and their content. But my involvement with EPEC blossomed at the EPSC in Geneva on the same year. Re-encountering some people that I met during the annual week, as well as meeting loads of other early careers in planetary sciences, was enough for me to want to get involved even more with the community. I later coordinated one of our activities at the conference, the Mentoring at EPSC, which basically helps newcomers to the conference by pairing them up with someone who has experience attending several large conferences, including the EPSC, obviously. These mentors show the ropes, pointing out useful tips for networking, prioritizing sessions, and keeping an eye on important events that usually happen during the conference, as well as being an opportunity to sit down with an experienced researcher to discuss other topics such as career advancement. However, I have to remind you that the Europlanet Society offers a mentorship platform whose aims are better tuned for that kind of discussion. And recently, I became involved in the Annual Week Working Group because Erica needed some help with the organization, and I was fortunate enough to be able to lend her a hand. So, regarding your final question, for what I get out of it, I could say that I did this for its own sake, and it's a lot of fun. But mostly to remain part of the community by contributing, hopefully, to its enrichment. But obviously, we cannot ignore that these kinds of things look good on your CV and are a fantastic opportunity to network and to develop some soft skills at an international level, which is even more important when you come from small countries and teams such as myself. And the most fantastic thing about this is that everybody is welcome. We only need your enthusiasm to join us, and we are always learning something new. So,
let me go back to you, Ines and Erica. What should we expect from the EPEC during the next period, let's say the following months?
Oh, actually, this very podcast will be one of our main activities. And the team has been working hard to bring you the next episodes. The other big event that's coming up for us is the Europlanet Science Congress, so EPSC, in Granada, Spain. That will happen in September, and we hope to see a lot of you there. There's a lot of activities that are being organized by our EPEC at EPSC working group, who's working hard on workshops, networking opportunities, and we'll have a booth too, so come and talk to us. And it will be our first in-person event, both for EPEC and for Europlanet, in 3 years. So we are really, really excited to see you there. Erica, do you want to add something maybe?
Yeah, I would add, as I mentioned before, the Early Career Support Working Group is trying to create a database, containing most of the job opportunities out there. And I think this is going to be a welcome contribution to the community. And also in the second half of this year, of 2022, we will also start to organize the next annual week, the 5th annual week, which will be different and special compared to the previous ones, because this time we're planning a huge joint event with Europlanet, and that means that it will bring together early careers but also seniors all together. The location is to be confirmed yet, but stay tuned for more updates.
So it sounds like that there are a lot of interesting things to happen, and it seems that we have given already a good amount of information about the EPEC network, with much more to come in the next episodes. So, guys, as a conclusion and greeting for our inaugural transmission, would you like to share some thoughts about our new effort, the Stairway to Space podcast? If I start with it, I'd like to say that I consider this form of communication one of the most direct ways that we could ever have to reach a broad number of fellow early career people in planetary science in Europe and beyond. It is an easy way to listen to our voice and share our voice with you, to boost the dialogue among us. We want to make this podcast interesting, to take it with you on your free time, when you're walking outside, or as I said before, when you're going for the groceries. We want to make it a tool that will bring our community closer, more easily and more directly.
Yeah, I'd like to add, I believe this podcast is a living proof of how much networking is not only essential and useful for early career scientists like us, but also transversally productive and, why not, fun. So I hope you enjoy it as much we do indeed.
Yes, that for certain. So we really hope that our content is interesting for all of you. And I also would like to highlight that if someone is interested to discuss about final results of a PhD research or a master thesis, or simply to bring a point of view on some topics that could be helpful for early careers or interesting, you can do it by taking part to our podcast as a guest. And furthermore, if someone is interested to be part of this journey, with us and be more involved with this podcast, you can also join our team because we will be very happy to welcome you. So please join us. You can do that by sending an email to epec.communications@gmail.com or reach us to any of the social media pages that we have mentioned during the podcast. But of course, we will share with you all the links in the discussion.
Don't forget that you can always reach us on our website and choose the different working groups that suit your fancy. Perhaps you'll be collaborating with us with several, just as me.
And finally, Phoebus was very gracious and called me a host, but I'm actually just a guest here. The rest of the team is actually making the podcast, and I'd like to thank all of you because you've worked hard to get here, and I cannot wait to see what you come up next for the next episodes. This is a project that I really, really enjoy following.
We can promise you that there is a good amount of motivation, and hopefully all this will be fun in the meantime of being a great tool of communication, of course. Thank you all for joining us as listeners, and thank you all of you who will be our collaborators by joining the Europlanet Society and its Early Career Network, and by joining also our podcast production team. There is space for everyone. Think of visiting our website and social media to give your feedback, to suggest ideas, to propose new activities, and to become part of this team, our team. We'll meet you again on the steps of our Stairway to Space, so stay tuned.